of keeping meditation very deep, but also very simple and clear. So if you have perhaps wondered about reading an English book, our aim, especially here in Australia, has been to keep the English very simple, and I think some of you might find it could be one of the first really good English books for you to read, so I hope you might consider thinking about that. So I think Keaton has given a very good introduction to Ken. Not much more to say, I suppose. So we'll get started on the slide. So this is the image which is on the front cover of the book. You can see the book here. And we were very fortunate to have an illustrator who captured a lot of the spiritual content and the intention of the book. And so we have a lot of lovely illustrations throughout the book. And we were able to use one colour, which was green. So I'm very pleased to see you're wearing a very good green colour tonight.
Green chairs.
Green chairs. I'm wearing green, even very soft green on Ken, so we're all tuned in.
It's green.
Okay, so we'll just go to the next slide, please. And so that's the cover of this book, but Ken has written many books, so I was just going to ask you, Ken, what inspired this book and what do you feel is the main importance of this book from your point of view?
First of all, good evening. This, as you know, the word ultimate means two things. The final thing and also the most important thing. And the frontier means, you know, some place you have to get to and cross. Yes, okay. I'll swallow it. Hello. Is that better?
Yeah, that's clear.
So human beings have done so much research. They've gone into the atom, they've gone into the universe, they've gone into the oceans. But the last thing and the most important thing is going here and understand ourselves more deeply. It's really a book about consciousness. So the energy that makes us live, that makes us move, that makes us exist, and how it works and how to change it, basically. So the book's all about that. And as Jay said, the team really worked very well on it, and they kept the language as simple as possible. So it's a good I'd say a combination. We have simplicity and at the same time depth. So this particular book was I'd written it originally in Portuguese. So because there was a deadline, I had to give the book in, and there wouldn't have been time to write it in English and then translate it, so I wrote it direct. Then later on I translated it into English, and it was sitting around, and they picked it up, and I came here 2 years ago, and I practically rewrote it, because, you know, there was a lot of things that had changed since I'd first written it. So it's probably at the heart of what I feel and believe about my own spiritual development and what has been useful for me. Yeah.
So there's a nice mixture of stories from Ken's interesting life, from when he was quite young through to now as an industrial chemist, and then going into management as well. So it's partly stories about his life and how that's been interwoven with interesting information about meditation. And I think at the end of each chapter there's an interesting structure that Ken follows throughout the book. So I might get Ken to explain a little bit more about that. So it's a good book for a student because it's set out in an interesting way, so you can do references back to things that you might have remembered and you know where to find them easily in the book.
Yeah, the idea that it has a structure, so that at the end of each chapter I summarise the book in these three areas of understanding, awareness and practice. So if we stay just at the first level, let's say, we just understand a few things, and it's okay. You feel good just understanding, but that's not enough. Nothing happens, nothing changes if you just understand. It's like you understand, you shouldn't smoke cigarettes, or you understand that you shouldn't get angry. Everyone understands that, right? But what happens? We get angry sometimes, even though we understand what it is. Let's say we understand someone and their behavior, we accept it, but at the same time it still upsets us. So we need to go one further step so that understanding becomes natural in the way I see things and listen to things. That natural way is the awareness, that I'm conscious of what I understand, and it's more natural than it's not intellectual. It's just, for example, I understand that I'm a peaceful being, but then I have to keep that awareness going about my daily work. I always think that the true test of spirituality is to be able to be with difficult people and difficult situations, rather than, it's very easy to be nice to a nice person, right? Very easy to be friendly with friendly people or peaceful with peaceful people. But I have to be peaceful even if the other people are not peaceful, right? So that's what awareness is. It becomes natural. And to make it natural, I have to practice. I have to practice, it's like sometimes you do some drills for your body, right? And you start to get some more muscle tone. In the same way, you do drills, internal drills, and you become more, it becomes easier to live.
Fit.
Fit.
So the interesting thing in the illustrations in this book are the frogs. They're telling the story using a frog, and I think Ken has a way of introducing this first story, which set the tone for all the frogs in the book.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because we wanted to make the book user-friendly, right? Make it friendly. So instead of just having some dry concepts, we were looking for someone to be to introduce these things, to be there, like pointing things out, like a host for the ideas. And so right in the beginning of the book, in the introduction, I tell a story. You may have heard it last night. We found out that people in India tell their story, so maybe in Sri Lanka also and other places. But there were two frogs. One lived by the seaside, the other one lived in a well. The seaside frog invites the well frog to go to the sea, and then when they're in front of the sea, he says, "Look at this water," and the well frog says, "No, that's not water. Water's black. Water has a different smell. Water's completely still. All this, whatever it is, moving around." And the seaside frog said, "Yeah, but it is water. Go and see." So he went and put his little toe in to the water, and he said, "Wow, It's water. So in a way, we have our own limited circumstance. Like I live in a well of my own thinking, right? And I think that all of the reality is that. And in fact, it's just a tiny little bit. It's much more, and this is what, crossing the frontier is actually to jump out of the well and to understand, that everything is much vaster, everything is more wonderful than my little version of the world.
So this was another image from the chapter called Starting the Journey. I was in a rudderless boat, so a boat without a rudder, in a sea of doubts, far from any safe anchorage. So that's quite a powerful metaphor or image for being without any help, feeling quite hopeless. So maybe you could explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, actually the illustrator really showed it very nicely. Where's the problem? The problem is in the boat or is in the water? Where? Where?
Well, it's in the head too, but
no, but if I have self-confidence, if I start to build some confidence in myself, some faith in myself, and things become rocky, the worst thing you can do is jump out of the boat. The problem is not the boat. The problem is the waves, right? The ups and downs. So if I'm on a spiritual journey and things start to get rough, the worst thing I can do is to jump out of the boat, because then there's nothing, So I have to stay close to what I believe and work on my convictions, my understanding deeply. And I find that actually, as a soul, for example, as a spiritual being going through this human journey, nothing can destroy me. Nothing. Even if I leave the body, I continue. So, what's going to happen to me? What's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen to you? Die. Right? But you don't die. So even the worst that happens to you doesn't do it. Doesn't stop you from continuing. So what's the problem with a few waves,
Next picture. So in chapter 2 called Who Am I Really? You go into quite a lot of depth about the subconscious and how we often aim to deal with the symptoms at surface levels, and we work really hard and we often get exhausted and feel hopeless. So perhaps you'd like to explain this little illustration with the tree and the roots of the problems.
Yeah, the thing is that it's like that. If you ask yourself, for example, why no one cooperates with you? Why? What could be a reason?
Because they don't like me.
Yeah.
And why don't they like you?
Why don't they like you?
My behavior,
Huh?
my way of working.
Yeah, maybe I'm very arrogant.
Yeah.
Okay. Why am I arrogant? Because I'm trying to pretend to be something that I'm not. Why am I pretending? Because I don't know. Why don't I know?
I don't want to know.
It could be. Let's go on that one. I'm avoiding knowing, let's say. And it's true, we really if I really understand things, there are changes to make, right? So it could be that the root cause that no one cooperates with me is because I'm afraid to change. See? It could be a lack of self-respect. It could be many things. But if you go down and you're just cutting the branches of the tree, the problems will continue. You have to go deeper. And what's the deeper things? And generally they're things so basic like, I don't know myself, I don't love myself, I don't have enough focus. Things where I'm too attached. There's a lot of basic things that I have to look at. And if I'm in a deeper state, then I can deal with those things at a deeper level. I go down to the roots. And if I solve the roots, I don't have to worry about the branches. Yeah?
So do you feel like leading a little bit of meditation?
Okay, let's have meditation. Less music, please. If you're going to play music, your meditation has to be very soft in the background. Otherwise, you're not meditating, you're listening to the music.
Shall we just have it without music?
Yeah, it could be without the music. That's easier. Now just don't need to close your eyes even. Just rest your gaze at some point in front of you. And become aware of what's going on around you. You can hear my voice, you can hear the background noise, you can feel the temperature. You're not anywhere else, you're not in another place or another time. The same way you're sitting on the seat, let your attention go to the place where your consciousness is sitting. So like a subtle seat behind the eyes. And as you do that, you move away from all of your connections temporarily, all of the things that connect you with the world, the way you relate, the roles you play, all of those things, the tasks that you're doing, just leave them for a few moments and just be. Just be who you really are. It's like leaving all of the branches, all of the extensions and expansions that connect us with our lives. Just leave it for a few moments. And go back to the seed that you are. Very powerful, very small, very content, very peaceful. And just allow the world to do what it has to do. So many things are happening around us at the moment, but I'm in the center of it all, very still, very calm. Very powerful. So with this consciousness, open your eyes a little bit more. And gradually come back to the gathering here. Just open your eyes more, just continue a little bit more. And here we are. Okay? Good? Feeling good?
this may be a throwback to Ken's career as an industrial chemist, but it also is an allegory for our lives, for what we do. So maybe you'd like to explain a little bit about this image.
Yeah, I was always very fond of experimenting. And I worked for several years actually in different companies, always in research and development of products, in the food industry, in the cosmetics industry. And I found that, you know, it was very nice to work with substances and formulas, but it was less difficult to work with people. Sorry, more difficult to work with people. And at the same time I had to work with myself. So anything, actually, I have to get the right ingredients. If I'm just working with some physical thing, then I have to have certain skills. But if I'm working with people, I have to have other types of skills, right? And if I'm working with myself, I also have to have deeper types of skills. So in a way, this sort of, you know, this idea of using your life as a laboratory and, you know, trying to invent different sorts of ingredients like the self-awakening potion or the third eye drops, you know, the peace solution or the unlimited possibility tincture, you know, it's just everything has an appropriate arrangement or a formula in a way. We just have to understand, you know. If I need to interact in a certain way, I have to put myself in that way. So I have to organize myself in that way. It's like, so that's why, you know, in a way it was like, if you remember what inspired me and maybe has inspired many of you too, was the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi. Because it was, he literally used his life as a laboratory. He would try out something with himself, and he would continue and continue to you know, to get it right. So in a way, this idea of working with ourselves, we can't work with other people much, but we can work with ourselves and discover things. So that's why this idea.
Picture. So this is an interesting one, referring to a way to meditate, or perhaps not to meditate.
Yes, not to meditate. It's a story about someone went to a spiritual master and asked him, "How do you meditate?" He said, "Well, sit in a nice place, put some music on if you want. But whatever you do, don't think of hairy-faced monkeys." So he arranged himself, he sat nicely, and then he remembered his instruction. Do not think of hairy-faced monkeys. What happened? It's exactly what he thought about. And then he tried, I'm not going to think, he started to think more. As much as he fought against the idea, more difficult it became. So it's like this, you know, who here has sometimes useless thoughts, especially at the time of meditation? You know, you're sitting there and then you remember you forgot the bananas. Or you're sitting there and did I bring the keys to the house? You know, did I leave my lights on, or did I park properly? You know, put money in the parking meter. I don't know what you have in You have parking meters here? No.
There are some.
We have, but not in
We
this.
cannot try to avoid them if possible.
Okay. Anyway, some inappropriate thoughts come, and you start to fight against them, and they become stronger. So the idea is, okay, something comes, let it come and let it go. Just watch it. It will go. But if you pay attention to it, it will stay. So it's really about how not to meditate, you know. Keep on the right thoughts. And, you know, keep on insisting on the right sequence of thoughts. And if anything else comes, let it come and let it go. Okay?
So this next image is about the ego, and people often wonder, I mean, in modern culture, everyone is supposed to have some sort of healthy ego, but we need to understand the difference. So I wonder if you could explain that.
Well, the actual diagram is actually about conflict as well. So you've got two frogs, right? One's a green one, one's a grey one. When they really make a big deal of you know, let's say the grey one wants the green one to be grey or more grey, and the green one wants the grey one to be more green, so that they can get along. When there's a key conflicts because of the differences. Now, if you start to see, you know, what's behind that, what's the essence of that, you know, we're pretty similar. You know, the green one and the grey one, the grey one are, in their essence, they're very similar. So the basis of, let's say, unity and getting along with people is to realize what you have in common with someone. And the basis of conflict is to make a big deal of the differences. So, what makes the big deal of the differences is this limited ego, that I think I'm grey or I think I'm green. You know, how come you're not, you know, it's really strange. When you have a conflict, there's always a lack of understanding. I do not understand why you don't understand what I understand. Do you understand? I can't figure it out. How come you know, what you're saying is, how come you're different? If I were you, I wouldn't do like that. It's a ridiculous thing. I'm not you. And they say that story, you know, sit in, if I were in your shoes, right? But if I can be in your shoes, if I try to put myself in your shoes, I'm me in your shoes. I can never be like you. But at a deeper level, there is something. Now, what I have to do, I'm not going to let's say I'm green. That's what I've done. All my life I've become green. Okay, I'm not going to ignore it. It's okay to be green, it's okay to be grey, it's okay to be red, you know, whatever colour, whatever culture, whatever, you know, whatever gender, whatever age, whatever, you know, religion. Okay. But let me use that properly and not ignore it. And not sort of, you know, it's my interface with the world. I'm not going to reinvent it every time I wake up. So let me use this interface, the limited ego, better, but from a deeper perspective. Okay.
Next image, please. So in the section or chapter called The Laws of Life, this image appears. The tapestry of the self has become complex since I have been weaving it for many lives. Would you like to speak a little bit more about that one?
Yeah, I mean, any carpet, any tapestry, in fact, has two parts, right? It has the backing cloth, which is normally, could be canvas or could be something else. But it's generally a blank colour, a white colour, a beige colour, something like that. It's, a natural colour of cotton, for example, could be unbleached. But you can't see it, right? Once the design is there, you can't see it anymore. So since we're a school of meditation, this design has been being built up over a long period of time, over many lives. The more and more we do things and think things and say things, we're putting more and more stitches into the design. And it becomes very, very complex. And some people it's a mess, actually. Some people it looks quite nice, but a lot of people that design is a mess, right? But if you could see behind the design, the very thing that holds it together is the backing cloth that you can't see anymore. So in the same way, we have characteristics that have been buried by all of the design, We've forgotten what holds us together. We've forgotten that we are beings of peace and love and contentment. We've forgotten that we're children of God, for example. We've forgotten all of that, and there we are living our designs and trying to show it off to the world, right? And you know what? You show your design to someone, they're showing you their design. You show your design, they say, and even the whole universe says, so what? Big deal. Who are you really? That's the deeper thing.
So the next image, please. So in the the last chapter, returning to genuine personal power, you share your formula for personal transformation. Would you like to explain how you've understood this?
Well, in a way, it's the same as the three ways that we have summarized each chapter, because the spiritual knowledge is the understanding part. When I say spiritual knowledge, what I mean is, what is that basic stuff that moves us? What are the basic ideas that are behind us? At the deepest level, who are we as human beings? If you go away from the religions and the cultures and the languages and so on, you go down to the depth. There's silence, there's peace, there's spiritual power that we can't see anymore because of language and culture and religion. So spiritual knowledge is what is at the heart of every religion, and even it's the heart of every soul, even if they don't have a religion, right? It's there. We are spiritual beings going through human experience. Meditation is to work on that, to contemplate on that, to affirm it again and again and again, right?
So,
and the last one is is a natural consequence. If I'm working on spiritual knowledge, meditating, what I will do is to practice that in the form of natural virtues, right?
I need to ask everyone to turn off their phones, but I forgot.
It's okay. Things happen.
So we're going to have a closing meditation, but I think we've got a choice. So Keaton, I don't know if you'd like to show us the slides, and then Ken will lead us in a meditation. So this is, you may recognise this from airports where you see people struggling with their luggage. I think this was an experience that Ken had as well, and turned it into this image of all the burdens and the rubbish we carry around with ourselves.
Yeah, and we want to be light, but we're also carrying a lot of stuff, right? We want to be easy, but we want to go forward. We're looking backwards. Now, if you move forward looking backwards, what's going to happen if there's an obstacle? You fall over. You'll trip. So if you want to go forward, you've got to look forward, not look backwards. So these are these are some of the things. Maybe we can use this one. Yeah. Okay, let's again just be easy, right? Keep your eyes open, let your gaze rest on something in front of you. Let the things around you happen. Just observe without thinking too much. And again, the past, anything that's happened in the past is not here. If there is anything pulling me here or there, in fact, it's just an idea. It's not a physical chain. There's no physical ropes that are tying me to anything. They're just ideas, actually. Worries and burdens and responsibilities. Who said that responsibility is the same as a burden or a worry? It's not. It's just something I have to do. If there are things that have happened in the past that are still weighing on me, let me just be very honest about it. I am just a tiny point of conscious energy. We can't even remember things from previous lives. Yet when we were living them, they were so important, so worrying, that at the moment I left the body, finished. Couldn't even remember anything. So let me do the things in the best possible way, but without carrying the burden of them. I'm just a tiny point of spiritual energy. Nothing and no one can take away my peace unless I allow them to. Just stay in that consciousness, a tiny point of conscious energy shining in the middle of the forehead, like a tiny lighthouse, very small, very calm, very centered, very content. Now with that idea, just open your eyes a little bit more and keep this awareness a few more moments in silence. Okay? Is that okay? Fine?
So I'm just wondering if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask Ken, something particular or in general about the book, whatever you might like to ask. Now's your chance.
Yes, the chance. Question time.
Tell us your experience in Brazil.
Your experience in Brazil.
Actually, Brazil's it's been a base rather than a place. In fact, in all of these years that I've been there, I've spent about a third of the time there. Because I'm travelling all the time.
But maybe at the beginning.
So yeah, maybe in the beginning I was there more. But even then, you know, about 8 months of the year. And I really have the consciousness of, if somebody asks me where I live, I say, well, where I am. It's very difficult. The place where my clothes are and everything, this year I've been there 3 weeks. So what can you say? I've been constantly on the move. So I've got an idea of the world. Brazil has some good things, has some bad things. Australia has some good things, has some bad things. India has some good things, has some bad things, right? I have to see the good things and not be affected by the bad things everywhere. So it's a different language, but in a different, slightly different culture, I suppose. But basically, they're human souls like anywhere. It's very difficult to generalize.
Your experience about the meditation, your experience of souls.
Of what?
Your experience of meditation.
Yeah, any about the soul. Did you see the soul?
Or did you see your soul?
Have I seen my soul? I'm not a very visual person, so in a sense of, you know, I have an appreciation and a feeling. For me, meditation is much more feeling than seeing things. I can feel, when I'm in a spiritual stage, I can feel the impact of that, and in fact others can also feel the impact of that. I feel I don't see anything when I think of, let's say, God or the Supreme. I don't see anything, but I can feel the presence of the Divine. It's feeling more than thinking. I don't see anything. No lights.
So in other words, you don't have to see things to meditate.
No.
Does that satisfy your question?
I remember someone had said, I've been meditating for 15 years, I haven't seen the golden red light yet. And I said, I've been meditating for more than 30 years. Now it's more than 40, but at the time he said that. And I haven't never seen anything. Just feel it. Okay?
What's your recommendation for someone who is just starting meditation and somebody already meditating?
Don't think of hairy-faced monkeys. No, I'm not joking. You know, you can easily give up because it's too difficult. Too many useless thoughts come. And you say, this meditation, nothing. It's not that meditation works very well. You're not working. That's the problem. You know. And again, don't jump out of the boat because the waves are rocking. stay in the boat, you know, you'll get there. So just persist, you know. And again, start your day off. If you start your day every day off well, the first thoughts are the foundation of the day. If your first thoughts are, oh, it's cold, oh, I'm tired, I slept too late last night, I want to stay in bed. Okay, you're going to have that sort of day. The first thoughts are the most important thoughts of the day. If you have good thoughts, you'll be okay for hours and hours. Okay? So, Jay?
I think it's Keaton actually.
Okay.
But, thank you very much for, well, thanks to Ken.
Thank
And
you,
thank
Jay.
you all for being here, because
Speak up.
if you were not here, then there'd be no reason for Ken and me to come. So it's great that you came. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if you're interested and you'd like to have a book, then Ken is very happy to sign and give you a little message. So over to Keaton, I think.
Anyway, yes, first of all, thank you, Brother Ken. As always, very inspiring. I see the soul.
See, you saw the light then, didn't you?
Your thirst is fulfilled. Anyway, so I learned something some years ago as I'm still practicing actually. Someone said, if you want to have a happy life, I mean, as he said, we need to away from the waste. The best thing they said actually, to read something positive for half an hour every day. Make it as a habit, read positive half an hour. That means our influence our mind constantly, daily. And this is a good start.
Actually, I've got a good story, because it's actually very true. Someone who got the book about a week ago, she said she reads a little bit every evening before she goes to sleep, and it's really helped her to feel more calm and at peace. And I thought, well, that was fantastic. She's already started using it. Yeah.
And another one, someone said, if you want to become expert in anything, how do you become expert in anything? You need 10 years of study?
Practice.
No, they said actually, this is the one that is so interesting. You read 5 books on any subject, you become expert. That's it. Because when you read 5 books in any subject, one subject, 5 books, you probably know more than 90% of the people.
That's
So,
true.
yeah, that's true actually. It's just, that's since I become a learner actually. That's what really motivated me actually. Yeah, I probably tell my story during the course. That's what really made me to learn more and more and more. So I became expert in meditation now. Anyway, thank you, Brother Ken, again. That's so interesting. Yeah, I got a good news for you. Huh? Yeah, one of the lucky one out of you here today. Yeah, we had to. Don't worry, I'll have. One of the lucky one out of today going to win a free book.
Did everyone get a ticket when they came in?
No, some of them not. I'll give it. Don't worry. Everybody will get a ticket.
Okay.
Some of you going to win. One person. If you like, if you have good meditation, you will. If you didn't win, you didn't.
So they can,
And
one
also,
of you will be a lucky winner of the book.
and those who didn't win, don't worry. It's only $25.
That's
You
right.
can good investment CD and the book.
It's the full CD with all the meditation commentaries at the back,
Yeah,
and all the illustrations and all the stories, everything. I'll just give you a...
Actually, I'm already thinking about who's my birthday I want to give a gift. So I have already 4 books in my mind to give a birthday gift. Actually, there is a great book. Sometimes it's a birthday. I had what do you really had to buy for that person? I think it's easy now. Give everyone book.
Yeah.
It's the best present.
Exactly. I already.
It'll last them all their
Christmas
lives.
only.
Christmas.
You
So
want
it's anyway. And
You
those,
want it.
yeah. Now Brother Ken is here. You can get it signed, and also you can take a photo if you want.
Oh, bonus! He's a good salesman. Yes.
So,
Have a photocopy.
those who buy book today get a personal photo with Brother Ken and signed by him.
And the light shining.